Greetings, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Jakumar Mohanachandran, the Chief Research Officer at IMCAS. I've been in the industry for the last 25 plus years. I've been always passionate in driving technology that can propel businesses towards success. CI as a service, CAS is your ultimate destination for all things related to technology and information. If you are embarking on large-scale projects or seeking specialized expertise, or require any consultation for your endeavors, CAS is your go-to solution. We work very closely with you, offering deep expertise and leveraging decades of experience to deliver optimal solutions that is being tailored to your enterprise needs. I head the research division of CAS, and at CAS Research, we operate with a lot of integrity and transparency, and that's the very core of our research. With a wealth of multiple years of experience, CAS Research has ingrained stringent policies and standards at its core. We have been creating research purely focused on technology, creates an environment where neither clients nor vendors can sway our research. And here we are now with a detailed breakdown of those industry-wide reports related to healthcare, oil and gas, retail, insurance, so on and so forth. So guided by our world's best practices, we maintain objectivity in ensuring clients cannot purchase research coverage or favorable opinions. Our dedication to independence empowers us to make bold calls, exercising full control over our research agenda, evaluations, and conclusions. I just wanted to let you all know that there's been a lot of meticulous planning and activities that went behind all our research just to ensure that the quality is not compromised. And we purely focus all the time on qualitative information rather than quantitative data, including proprietary insights to inform that we come up with the right kind of data points for you to take any decisions. The advantage of relying on with CAS Research will be you will get a comprehensive insights into the latest tech trends customized to your business needs. We can arrange strategic consulting sessions. You'll be a part of our event, when we do the research readouts. You'll get the early market predictions and also access to our expert network. So with this, I would like to conclude and hand it over to our lead research analyst, Shoaib Chowdhury, who will take you through the deep dive of today's webinar, which will actually focus on one of the industry. And from here onwards, please do thoroughly enjoy the session and do share your feedback. We look forward to working with you very closely. Our deliverables are designed to empower your business with the knowledge and strategies that needed in this digital age. So looking forward to work closely with each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Good morning and a very warm welcome to everyone joining us today. It is a pleasure to have you with us for the launch of Middle East IT Industry Foresight's 2025 Supply Chain Report, an exclusive CIO curated outlook that expresses and explores the pivotal technologies, trends, and transformations shaping the future of supply chain across the region. My name is Shoaib Mohammad Chaudhary, Lead Research Analyst at CAS Research. Today, I'll be walking you through the key insights that we have gathered from over 150 C+ level executives and IT decision makers across the Middle East, including voices from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, and other regions of the Middle East region. As we know, the supply chain landscape is undergoing a profound shift from linear reactive models to intelligent, adaptive, and intellectual ecosystems. Whether it's push for real-time visibility, the rise of green logistics, and the adoption of artificial intelligence and robotic process automations, or the increasing importance of data privacy and resilience, one thing is quite clear through the research, and that is that supply chain transformation is no longer optional but mission critical. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll explore sector findings, examine how leaders and decision makers are leveraging technologies like control towers, predictive analytics, edge computing, blockchain, artificial intelligence, and provide strategic recommendations into what's next for supply chain excellence in the Middle East. We'll later conclude the session with a fireside chat with Mr. Riyasat Ali, who is the group head of IT at the Russell Khama Ports. With that in mind, let's begin our journey through the future of supply chain, innovation grounded in data, driven by insights, and shaped by leaders building tomorrow's logistic landscapes. To begin with, we'll start with the real time visibility and predictive towers. In the modern supply chain ecosystem, real time visibility has evolved from a strategic advantage to an operational necessity. In a region as dynamic and geographically distributed as the Middle East, the ability to track goods, inventory, and logistics in real time determines not only efficiency but also resilience. As we know, the COVID 19 pandemic exposed major blind spots in supply chain worldwide, and regional enterprises have since accelerated investments in control towers, centralized platforms that provide end to end visibility, predictive analytics, alerts, and data driven decision making. However, true visibility requires more than just dashboards. It demands integration across partners, systems, and physical infrastructure. This section investigates how Middle East organizations are deploying digital control towers, IoT sensors, and visibility frameworks to reduce disruptions, optimize routes, and improve coordination across value chain. The CAS research suggests that 71.3% of respondents consider real-time supply chain visibility as extremely important, reinforcing its status as a top operational priority. Control tower adoption is gaining momentum with 52.6% leveraging them effectively for centralized monitoring and decision making, but many implementations remain partial or siloed. Next, we speak about sustainable logistics and carbon tracking. Sustainability in supply chain is no longer optional, it's becoming a regulatory and reputational imperative. Across the Middle East, companies are embracing green logistics by rethinking and redefining packaging, consolidating shipments, optimizing routes, and transitioning to lower emission transport modes. While many organizations report a wide adoption of eco friendly logistics, the ability to accurately and precisely measure carbon footprints remains inconsistent. Most organizations still rely on basic estimations, spreadsheets, or isolated systems rather than integrated, verifiable carbon accounting frameworks. As ESG reporting gains traction and green regulations tighten, companies must evolve their sustainability efforts from symbolic gestures to data backed, traceable outcomes. This section explores how the organizations are adapting their logistics models to balance performance with environmental responsibility. The green logistics practices such as eco-friendly packaging and optimized route planning are widely implemented across large enterprises and retailers in the region, leading to 46.7% adopting it extensively. Anyhow, the carbon footprint measurement is often basic, uneven or fragmented, or sometimes entirely missing. Most of the organizations lack real time carbon dashboards or integrated sustainability metrics. The CAS data highlighted that 31.2% of the respondents measure and report supply chain carbon footprint with basic measurements and periodic reporting. Speaking of automation and artificial intelligence in supply chain operations, automation and artificial intelligence are reshaping the very foundation of supply chain management across the Middle East. From robotic process automation, that is RPA, for repetitive tasks to artificial intelligence driven route optimization, demand forecasting, and predictive maintenance, organizations are unlocking new levels of agility and efficiency. While RPA adoption is widespread, it often remains limited to specific workflows. And in contrast, the artificial intelligence led optimization is gaining momentum, especially in logistics heavy sectors like retail, pharmacy, and manufacturing, to name a few. These technologies are enabling companies to anticipate disruptions, optimize inventory buffers, and minimize costs. However, achieving full value from these technologies depends on integration, quality data, and a mindset shift from reactive to predictive operations. This section highlights how Middle Eastern enterprises are scaling automation and artificial intelligence, and where gaps in consistency and intelligence still exist. Speaking of robotic process automation, the data concludes that there's been partial but widespread adoption, with 22.3% using it extensively and 62.5% adopting it to some extent, primarily in order processing, shipment scheduling, and invoice reconciliation. Artificial intelligence for route optimization and inventory management is also gaining strong traction, with 43.7% of respondents report active use of artificial intelligence, though many are still scaling from their pilot stages to the production stages. And the key uses include dynamic routing, automated replenishment, predictive maintenance, and lead time forecasting, demand forecasting, risk analytics, and data privacy. As supply chain grows more complex, forecasting accuracy and risk visibility have become central to strategic planning. More than just balancing inventory, modern demand forecasting must account for geopolitical factors, supply dependencies, climate variables, and shifting consumer behaviors. With the rise of advanced analytics, enables companies stimulate scenarios, stress test operations, and implement dynamic risk management strategies. Yet only a third of the companies report effective use of such analytics, while others are still maturing their capabilities. Simultaneously, the handling of sensitive customer and supplier data, especially with increasing digital touchpoints, places digital privacy and compliance under sharp scrutiny. This section explores how the businesses are moving towards prescriptive and autonomous supply chain planning while maintaining regulatory discipline and around data usage. The forecasting adoption is relatively strong, with 56.3% of respondents reporting to adopt it proactively, while 39.8% adopted reactively. 45.6% report using advanced analytics proactively to identify potential supply chain risks and opportunities, while 22.8% are still considering it. The use of advanced risk analytics to detect and respond to potential disruptions is growing, but still not mainstream, highlighting a lack of real-time simulation tools. Data privacy is well managed across the board, with 63.4% highlighting strong data privacy practices and compliance frameworks when handling supply chain and customer data. Firms are moving from destructive analytics to prescriptive models, aiming for quarterly updates and scenario based planning as a part of their future roadmap. And finally, to conclude and give you a summary, we can speak about widespread digital adoption, with over 70% of organizations are expected to implement real-time visibility tools, moving beyond just partial adoption. Control tower usage has become widespread, with artificial intelligence powered decision making becoming the very norm across logistics and procurement functions. Emerging technologies at scale, blockchain, will see targeted adoption in cross-border trade and pharmaceuticals, supported by evolving regional regulations. IoT will become prevalent in ports, warehouses, and in cold chains, enabling predictive maintenance and dynamic routing to optimize operations. Automation driven warehousing, robotics will transform warehouse operations, particularly in the GCC nations, which are open to exploring innovations. And around 60% of sorting and packaging tasks are projected to be automated. Speaking of sustainability, sustainability will shift from an initiative and conceptual phase to a mandate. Over half of the organizations are anticipated to adopt advanced carbon tracking aligned with global standards. Circular economy practices will be piloted or deployed in major FMCG and electronics supply chains, and renewable energy use in logistics, especially in greenfield warehouse projects, which are expected to exceed 50%. The data driven transformation with advanced analytics will become deeply embedded in procurement, risk management, and fulfillment. Organizations are estimated to move from descriptive to prescriptive and autonomous strategies, with quarterly model updates and scenario simulations becoming standard practice. Finally, I'd like to thank everyone who's joined us on the call today, and also a huge thanks to all the participants, respondents, the CIOs, CISOs, CTOs, IT managers, IT directors, everyone who's been a part of this survey, which helped us curate such a insightful report, and also to the research team who's been working on this. So a huge thanks to all of them for making this possible. And going ahead, we'll have a fireside chat with Mr. Riyasat Ali, who is the group head of IT with Russell Khaimer Ports. Firstly, Mr. Riyasat, thank you very much for joining us in this fireside chat. It's a delight to have you. And to begin with, I'll start with my first question, which is like, how can organizations in the Middle East accelerate the shift from reactive to predictive supply chain models? And what role do artificial intelligence and machine learning play in this transition?
Okay, thank you very much, Shoaib, for inviting me for this very insightful discussion. In order to accelerate the shift from reactive to predictive supply chain models, I think there are few key strategies which the organizations should adopt. Um, when we are talking about the modern supply chain, nowadays we are um, seeing the AI powered demand forecasting is emerging. AI powered demand forecasting. It includes machine learning algorithm to analyze historical data, market trends, even external factors which can predict the demand accurately. This can help the organizations to optimize inventory levels, reduce waste, and improve customer satisfaction. In addition to this, there is a requirement to invest in data management. We also need to work on developing our skilled workforce, because if we do not upskill our employees in data science, AI, and ML, uh, our organizations will lag behind. Um, and again, as we are talking about the latest technologies and improvement in the supply chain management, a phased approach should be adopted um, by taking pilot projects, starting with the small projects, and then those should actually deliver some quick wins. This will bring confidence in technology, and then slowly we can scale them up with AI and ML initiatives uh, to manage risks and ensure smoother integration. In addition to this, we are also looking into leveraging the cloud computing and IoT. Um, and Nowadays, the buzzwords like Gen AI and agentic AI are also in. So all these are helpful in leveraging these new technologies.
Great, great. Thank you, Mr. Riyasat, for putting that so elaborately. And then moving on, like you spoke about the implementation of pilot programs. So I'd like to know, what are the biggest challenges that the companies face in achieving end-to-end visibility, and how are technologies like IoT and control towers transforming this landscape?
Well, the companies these days they are facing several challenges when we are looking at it from the end-to-end visibility point of view. Like I mentioned about the data, so the fragmented technology systems are actually leading to isolated data or data silos. That makes the integration and sharing of the information very difficult, especially between the departments and stakeholders. Similarly, lack of real-time data. So we are seeing outdated data, um, and there are batch processed data which are hindering the decision making. Inventory management and customer satisfaction are all reliant on the data availability, and especially the real-time data. Then we have multiple data sources, which actually lead to inconsistent data. And also, if you look at various got different type of formats and reporting structures. So in order to integrate them together and process these data in one single platform, that is one of the major challenges which lots of organizations are facing. Of course, as we know that the cybersecurity threats are everywhere, and almost all organizations are faced with the cybersecurity threats, and there are data breaches which are happening, and the uh, supply chain information is at risk all the time. These are also some major challenges which lots of organizations are facing. Now, the technologies like IoT and control towers, these are actually transforming the landscape. We get the real-time tracking using the IoT devices. Sensors are incorporated, and they are providing the accurate location of the devices and machines. The control towers, um, if we are talking about the integration of various data sources, um, redundancies are removed, and using these control towers, we are also getting the real-time visibilities to support the decision making and optimize supply chain operations. In addition to this, the predictive analysis and cloud-based platforms, which I mentioned before, these are also helpful in making these decisions more informed and better.
That's right, that's right. So now, speaking about challenges, we now do something that's quite trending, and that's the ESG compliance and sustainability. So, given the growing global pressure for ESG compliance, how are Middle Eastern supply chains approaching sustainability and circular economy adoption? Like, I'd like to know, are we moving fast enough with it?
As far as the pace is concerned, yes, the Middle East market is progressing well. It is primarily because the government, Middle East governments, these are involved into these initiatives. Um, they are moving in the right direction, I would say. But of course, there is a still room for improvement. The increase, basically, it is depending upon the increased awareness of the investment in sustainability, and then the region becomes a leader in ESG compliance and circular economy adoption. As far as the growing global pressure of ESG compliance is concerned, we can see that I was looking at some recent survey. They were saying that around 80% of the companies in the Middle East have a formal sustainability strategy. Around 50% of them um, are embedding it across their organizations. We are also talking about green finance. And again, the circular economy you mentioned, this is actually, if you look at the UAE circular economy policy 2021-2031, this is quite a comprehensive strategy. It's covering research, procurement, and legal frameworks. Sustainability in the supply chain practices is another area, and companies are focusing a lot on reducing waste, optimizing resource usage, and promoting sustainable practices throughout their supply chain. And this is common across the board. All organizations are looking at all these things. Yes, of course, there are some challenges which the organizations are facing. There are challenges related to the internal skills. So the skills in, especially in sustainability expertise, is a major challenge, because the organizations have started looking at it, but the skilled force is lacking. Again, return on investment, some companies are looking at it from the return point of view because they are uncertain about the ROI of these sustainable initiatives. And there are some inconsistencies in the regulatory frameworks. Um, Again, if these are enforced properly by the authorities, then this will be a useful thing, and the organizations will adopt to these compliance requirements.
That's right. That's right. So, like, we need to stick to compliance requirements, is what, like, we can take a summary out of it. And then from moving from sustainability, like, the most hot topic these days is the automation and robotics. So, I'd like to ask, with the automation and robotics gaining so much of traction, what strategies are being used to manage workforce transition and minimize job displacement risks in the region? Because people are very worried about the job displacement that's going to happen with automation coming into the play.
Yeah, it's a very good question, Shoaib, and we have been listening to these kind of questions very often. People are very much concerned about robots taking over their jobs, but I believe that there is always a positive side of the technology and the new advancements which are on the way. Robots are definitely not going to replace everyone. However, those who will not be taking over uh, the new technologies, or they will not be adopting to the new technologies and automation, those jobs or those um, skills will be replaced by uh, these machines. Upskilling and reskilling is the answer to this. If the organizations help their workers in developing the new skills, that can be helpful for them to adopt to the new norm, which is going to be automated environment, and the environments where the robots will be used. And we cannot immediately bring the robots in our work environment as such. The automation as well as the robotics can be implemented within the organizations in a phased manner. And we should also work closely with HR um, in the redeployment of our workforce. The human factor is not always totally to be avoided. Um, there are human skills which are still valuable. There are customer services related jobs where people will be still required. And there are strategic decision making areas where the robots or automation cannot make those strategic decisions. And again, going back to the upskilling and reskilling, there are training and education related opportunities here, where the development of the skills of the emerging technologies, the workforce should be developed with the emerging technologies like AI, data analytics, and robotics, etc. They should be provided trainings on that. Last but not the least, there should be some social support circles as well, who should to we often see that if somebody has been fired due to some redundancy in an organization, uh, the people are affected because of that, because they have families, they have their own future plans, and once they are affected because of that, those need a lot of support. Regionally, the government-led initiatives are there. The governments are launching initiatives to support workforce development, and they are upskilling, providing some training programs. In addition to this, even the private sectors are making some investments in order to support and develop their workforce. And then digital transformation strategies are getting into the organizations, and these are being encouraged across the industries. And the new job opportunities are actually emerging within the organizations. So you will see that in the past there were certain jobs which were non-existent, but now you see they are um, offered by organizations. These are related to data, digitalization, analytics, artificial intelligence. So all these are the outcome of the automation and RPAs, for example. The skills required to support these kind of initiatives are also in demand.
Thank you, Mr. Yasatali, for putting up that. And lastly, coming to the last question of today's session, I'd like to ask, like, going ahead to 2025, what one capability or transformation do you believe will define a high-performing, future-ready supply chain in the Middle East?
Well, it's a very good question, but I would say there is no silver bullet as such. In order to have the high performing, future ready supply chain in the Middle East, what we can see is we need to leverage the advanced technologies for enhanced resilience. We should be agile and sustainable. There are some key transformations which need to be taken into account. The organization should look into artificial intelligence and analytics. AI powered analytics are highly in demand these days for the decision making and in order to predict the demand and fluctuation and optimize supply chain operations. Digitalization and automation, adopting the digital technologies to streamline processes. Transparency is one of the key areas, and these can help in reducing the costs. Like I mentioned about the sustainability, so sustainability practices are integrating in the green supply chain management, and these are helpful in minimizing the environmental impact and meeting the growing regulatory requirements as well. Collaborating in and the partnership is one of the other areas which is we need to collaborate and work in partnership with the supply chain ecosystem, the organizations and the players within that ecosystem. Communication is one of the key areas, and I talked about before about the cyber security. So the robust cyber security is one of the key elements to protect the organization against the increasing threats, especially to the supply chain.
I think we can wrap it up over here. It was lovely to have you, Mr. Yasser. It's always a delight talking to you and having these discussions with you. And I'm sure that everyone who is watching this Insights webinar, they're going to gain a lot from this fireside chat that we had.
Thank you very much, Shoaib, for inviting me for such an important topic and discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Yasser. It's lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. And with this, we can conclude our webinar for today, which was the Middle East IT Industry Foresights 2025 Supply Chain Edition. The report is available to be downloaded from the Cash Research website, and you can download it, have a soft copy of your own, and use this as a blueprint for your strategic recommendations and decision making. With that, me, Shoaib Chaudhary, would like to sign off from today's webinar. Thank you very much, and do take care. Thank you.